Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? It is the second official day of Trump's presidency. And yes, we are. This is the Snowflake Corner episode 56, a Donald Trump special. Well, a bit off Donald Trump, one or two. But we are pretty much circling around America on most topics that we are covering here today. And tomorrow we'll be going through a lot of clips of Donald Trump. I'm certain of it tomorrow on the Snowflake Watch to pull our heads around as well. The date and time of this live stream is the 21st of January 2025 at 6 p.m. UK time. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com/Reganelite and on twitch.tv/Reganelite1. If you're on Twitch, make sure you hit that follow button and do leave a comment down below if you are lurking in the Twitch chat. And to everyone on YouTube, if you haven't already, hit that like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing as well. Who have we got here in the YouTube chat? It looks like it's got some people already. Jao is here. Good to see you there. The Orange Reich rises again. Yeah, indeed. Mad Monk is here. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Genie Bottle is also here. Good to see you there. And anybody else who may be lurking in the chats. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to this Trump special. I know you guys absolutely loved the intro music. That's why, yeah, none of you who listened to it left the chat at all and listened to it for the full 10 minutes. And don't worry, guys. I've also got some funny memes as well as a funny video as well around the orange one. But before we have fun, we have to be a bit serious here, guys, because obviously. So what happened on day one, guys? So what executive orders did Donald Trump sign on day one? Well, so this explainer here from The Guardian is going to explain some of the executive orders that Donald Trump signed yesterday, and it's not good. It's really not good. We're going to talk about them each one, and it's just going to be brutal. For those of you who aren't aware of some of the things that he's already signed off, so. Yeah, President said his executive orders will lead to complete restoration of America, and here's what we know so far. So let's get into this, guys. So, on his first day back in the White House, President Donald Trump signed a series of executive orders, including resigning Biden-era executive actions and withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accord. Trump told Fox News host Sean Hannity during his campaign that he would be a dictator only on day one and use his presidential powers to close the southern border with Mexico and expand oil drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator, he said. An executive order rolled in on Monday and accelerated pace amounted to a shock and awe campaign. Trump promised in his inaugural speech that these orders would amount to the complete restoration of America. Here's what we know so far about the most significant executive orders and actions Trump has signed on Monday. So here's the first one we'll talk about. Ending birthright citizenship. So, the order, along with a skew of immigration-focused orders, Trump is targeting automatic citizenship for US-born children of immigrants in the country illegally to begin 30 days from today. What Trump says, the order specifics of what would limit birthright citizenship if a person's mother was unlawfully present in the United States and the father was not a United States citizen or unlawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth, or when the person's mother's presence in the United States at the time of said person's birth was unlawful but temporary. And what it means is birthright citizenship, which guarantees citizenship to anyone born on US soil, is protected by the 14th Amendment, or any attempts to revoke it will likely bring immediate legal challenges. The order attempts to deny documents recognizing US citizenships for individuals who meet the criteria and are born in the US 30 days after the order was signed. So, so there will be challenges to this, and Trump will not be able to get this much as done as he wants to, unless he changes the Constitution. He'll have to change the 14th Amendment, and that is going to require the support of Democrats, which they will not back. And some Republicans, like it or not, guys, they're not going to get behind this. Not all Republicans will get behind it. Most will, but some will not. So I do not expect this to actually come to pass. Alistair Keir, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. And Mrs. 55, good to see you both. Hope you guys are all right. So the ending of birthright citizenship. As of right now, I don't see it happening. Yes, he can sign an executive order, but people born on US soil is still protected by the 14th Amendment. So unless he changes the 14th Amendment, his executive order isn't really going to do anything. It's not really going to make any difference on this. So this is something that I'm glad at least that there's an amendment on this at least to help to protect it. But there will be waves, but let's be clear about this. This Trump presidency is going to be brutal, and they're going to do some really damaging things. And he will try to find a way to end birthright citizenship. He will find as many ways as he possibly can. A lot of immigrants, legal immigrants, there's no illegal immigrants, but a lot of immigrants who will come into the US, a lot of people who may not fully understand the 14th Amendment, because there will be some people in America who will not fully understand how things work. Some of them who may be told outright that that their child or whatever isn't American. So there's a good chance that authorities may lie to them about this as well. So there's a lot of concern about that as well. So I can see that those at the immigration border, those who are going to be border forces and whatnot, they're going to be very, very brutal on immigrants, as we know. Alistair Keir, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. I really appreciate it. To Goddess of Abundance, John Callaghan, FY, Derek McCall, and Young Ralph, all been gifted memberships there. Thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate it. So ending birthright citizenship is going to be, I think this is one that's going to ramble for a while. Even though he signed an executive order, it's not going to change anything. It's not going to change anything in terms of birthright. Now, whether they change the 14th Amendment, that remains to be seen on that one, guys. The next one here is leaving the World Health Organization. This was pretty much announced today. Trump signed an order to have the US exit the World Health Organization. What Trump says, the World Health ripped us off, ripped everyone off the United States. It's not going to happen anymore, Trump said at the signing. He accused the WHO of mishandling the COVID-19 pandemic and other international health crises. And what it means is that the US will leave the WHO in 12 months' time and stop all financial contributions to its work. The US is the biggest financial backer to the United Nations Health Agency. I don't want to jump it out of there. So the WHO is being undermined, and this will play into the hands of the conspiracy theorists and anti-vaxxers. It means that people will be more at risk. It means that the WHO now is will be significantly weaker for the next 4 years as a result of this as well, because they will not have the finances of America as well. Their work is already completely and totally undermined by this direct action. And it's going to be very hard for them to continue to do the work some of they do. They're going to rely significantly on, they're going to be asking for more contributions from other nations as a result of this as well. So it will be basically the WHO will be asking other nations who are part of the organization to step up. What's the other possibilities that can happen now as a result of this is that other nations who have been skeptical or whatnot of the WHO will now leave their organization because the US has done so, because they're the biggest backers. So we could see a flurry of some nations leave the WHO as a direct result of Donald Trump doing this. Remember, it's going to be at least 4 years, if not longer, before America returns to the WHO, depending on what happens at the next presidential election. So this could mean, obviously, not having the WHO is just really, really a really horrible situation. And if we have any kind of global pandemic during, if the World Health Organization ever ceases to exist, it means we will not have a body to look to when it comes to the health of the world. There won't be somebody to look at. And, did the WHO mishandle the COVID-19 pandemic? I don't think so. I think nations just didn't handle it properly. I don't think they made mistakes, if I'm perfectly honest. But I don't think it should be a case of they should leave it because of it. Leaving the WHO and not being able to sell medicine and treatment to the rest of the world, check. Leaving the WHO and not be able to ask for assistance from the members of the case of pandemic, check. Leaving the WHO and not being able to access WHO members' database, especially the EU that sells medicines to the US, check. Yeah, it's pretty. I'm really, really scared on this. This is a very terrifying one here. People's health is pretty much now at risk, even more than ever before. But for me, it's just as much about the funding than anything, because obviously being the biggest funder behind the WHO, this is a really brutality, and don't be surprised as other nations follow suit on this. That's just a real scary thing, guys. Not so much of real significance, but renaming the Gulf of Mexico. Trump ordered the name change to the Gulf of Mexico and Alaska's Mount Daney. Yeah, the Alaska one is a real annoying one. What Trump said: President Trump is bringing common sense to the government and renewing the pillars of American civilization, the executive order said in part. What it means, Trump ordered the Gulf of Mexico to be renamed the Gulf of America, something that he promised earlier this month at a press conference. He will rechristen Alaska's Mount Daney as Mount Mackenzie, a change first made by Barack Obama in 2015 to reflect the traditions of Alaska's natives, as well as the preferences of many Alaskan residents. It will have no bearing on what names are used internationally. Yeah, it won't change anything. This is a stupid thing, like just to change the name over. Billy Kosher, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Very annoying for the residents of Alaska as well on that one. But this is not as significant as some of the other executive orders or actions that Donald Trump is making. I would say it's more petty and more annoyance more than anything else when it comes to on this one, guys. This one will hurt Tesla. Revoking electric vehicle targets. So the order, Trump is revoking a non-binding executive order signed by Biden aiming at making half of all new vehicles sold in 2013 electric. So that order's gone. What Trump said, the United States will not sabotage our own industries while China pollutes with impunity, Trump said on Monday afternoon. And what he means is part of an effort to repel Biden's environmental protections. Trump has also promised to roll back auto pollution standard finalized by Trump's administration last spring. So basically, this is basically bringing back the fuel and pushing up more of the fuel and gas industry, the oil companies, allowing these companies, the companies behind them, and the auto industry will thrive in the next couple of years under Donald Trump, because he will push these industries as opposed to moving towards greener energy here. This means as I've been told by other people, that China will become number one when it comes to leading on electric cars. America was heading in that direction, but this action by Donald Trump is basically rolling that back. So China will be the leading powerhouse when it comes to electric cars. This will obviously hurt Elon Musk and Tesla, but I haven't heard Musk say anything about it, so it looks like he's going to be turning a blind eye to that one. But this is a really dumb one here. It just means that America is going to be even further back when it comes to the rest of the world on this one. Really silly decision. Trying to live in the past, basically, is what it is. This is about living in the past. That's what all this is. So yeah, it's a real shame for those who have been pushing and renovating more towards electric vehicles. And I feel like that I wouldn't be surprised at all that Trump pressures more on anyone with electric cars to tax them more and all this kind of stuff, push people back into more towards to more fuel cars as well. Really, really bad. Reclassifying federal employees, making them easier to fire. So the order says Trump's executive order reclassifies thousands of federal employees as political hires, making it much easier for them to be fired. So what Trump says, aides to be the president have long hurdled mass government firings as part of an attack on the so-called administrative or deep state. What it means is Trump effectively reinstates Schedule F, an executive order he signed in the last year of his first term, seeking to reclassify tens of thousands of federal workers. Biden rescinded the order. Key aides to Trump have called for mass government firings. Project 2025 made attacks on the deep and administrative state a core part of Trump's second term. The right-wing playbook called for civil servants deemed politically unreliable to be fired and replaced by conservatives. So basically, everyone who is a civil servant, you are going to get fired one way or another. If you're not, I really cannot stress this enough. If you are working within the government as a civil servant and you are not already looking for a job, or if you're not loyal to Donald Trump, you are going to get the boot because the standards of practices are gone. The rule of law is going to go when it comes to how basic things are run. It is all going to be torn apart, and it's going to be all run by Project 2025. Anyone gets in the way, you are going to be fired. You are going to be cast aside. That is simply what is going to happen here when it comes to this. It's absolutely an absolutely terrible and sad state of affairs that people who have worked in the civil service, who have played a vital role in running the American system, are all going to be pushed and cast aside for Project 2025. It is horrible. And obviously Biden reinstated the order and Trump's just brought him straight back in, basically, on this one. What are you guys saying? Oh, and let's not forget an embargo on US goods due to climate change goals. That will be hilarious. Yeah. So, yeah, so for all those employees out there, like if they did not get the warning signs already, they should have gotten it. They should have already started looking for jobs the moment that Donald Trump won the presidency. They should have started looking. They should have had backup jobs in place because none of their jobs are safe. None of them at all. No matter what department you're in, because Trump will do everything he can to rip everything apart about America now. Declaring a national energy emergency. So the order is Trump declares a national energy emergency as part of a barrage of pro-fossil fuel action and efforts to unleash already booming U.S. energy production. That includes also rolling back restrictions in drilling in Alaska and undoing a pause on gas exports. So what Trump says is the order means you can do whatever you have to do to get out of the problem we do to have that kind of emergency, Trump said at the White House late on Monday. What it means is the declaration will allow his administration to fast-track permits for new fossil fuel infrastructure. It is likely that the order, part of a broader effort to roll back climate policy, will face legal challenges. So this is going to give the courts a bit of a headache when it comes to climate agreements. But we know that Donald Trump is very anti-climate. We know that his paymasters are very anti-climate. He will be doing absolutely everything to roll back as much on climate as possibly can. This is basically full steam ahead when it comes to any oil and gas production in and around America more than ever before. Everything that that President Biden tried to do in his last bits, Trump is just going to roll back on all of it because he wants to basically, as he says, drill, baby, drill. That's what he wants to do. He wants to drill everything and make a hell of a lot of money. And he doesn't care about the consequences of the planet. America, I would not be surprised over the next 4 years if America becomes one of the more polluted than China. It's entirely possible that may come about, but yeah, a national emergency, energy emergency is there's no national energy emergency whatsoever. He's just declaring it just to give it as an excuse to basically drill and do more gas exports than ever before on that. This is another frightening one as well. Creating a policy on recognizing only two genders. So the order Trump signed an order to remove gender ideology guidance from federal government's communications, policies, and forums. The order makes it official policy that there are only two genders, male and female. What Trump says, agencies will cease pretending that men can be women and women can be men when enforcing laws that protect against sex discrimination, the order states. What it means is that the order revises a Biden-era executive action on the acceptance of gender identity. So this is I have to stress this now. To anyone out there from America, if you have not, you have to hide your identity. If you really have to hide your identity and really be careful. If you are not considered a male or a female, if you are considered non-binary, if you're considered trans, if you're considered any other gender type, which by the way, you should have the same rights as every single other person in America, you must cover yourself. You must hide yourself. And please do not make it clear that you do, and please keep quiet about it for now, because you put yourself at risk from those who intend to harm you. I advise people to just please look out for others. Please protect trans people. Please protect the trans communities as much as you possibly can from Donald Trump and this evil government, because they will be harsh, very harsh on them. Just please be careful. Please keep I know people want to stand up and shout and be proud of flying their flags and whatnot, but you in all seriousness, your safety is at risk. Your life will be at risk because people will target you simply because of you being allowed to be you. And I don't want people, and I would rather that people would protect themselves rather than risk themselves getting hurt or worse on this. This is absolutely a disgusting policy because people are being forced to choose between being a male and a female, and people in America will no longer have that choice. And it's it's just not right. Basically, people's rights have been taken away here. Like I said, if you are of trans or bisexual or whatever you describe yourself as gender, if you're not male or female, either like go into hiding, please cover yourself, or leave the country, because you are putting yourself at risk in America. I cannot stress this enough on that one. Obviously, and here's the thing, like, even in blue states, you will still be targeted. Even though you'll be in blue states, you will still be targeted as well. That's also a really important point. So, pausing the TikTok ban. So, the order, Trump signed an executive order temporarily delaying the enforcement of the federal ban on TikTok for at least 75 days. So, some of you may have saw that I dropped a short video when that happened on Sunday. So, on Sunday, Donald Trump spoke to the chief executives of TikTok. I'll talk about that in a second. What Trump said: I guess I'll have a warm spot for TikTok that I didn't have originally. Trump said at the White House as he signed executive orders, according to the New York Times. What it means is Trump ordered his attorney general not to enforce the law requiring TikTok's sale. Trump says the pause allows time to chart an appropriate course forward to protect national security and not abruptly shut down the popular app in his first term. Trump favored a TikTok ban, but has since changed his position due to factors including his own popularity on the app. So, I like, this is the one thing I will say here, that I'm glad that he's giving TikTok more of a space. And I think the only saving grace that he's giving TikTok a saving grace is because there is people who are supportive of Trump on the app. That is the one thing that has given him pause for thought on this, because there are popular users on there who support Donald Trump. TikTok is a very popular app. It has helped a lot of Americans when it comes to making an additional income for themselves as well. It has really, really helped them. I hope that eventually that Donald Trump will allow TikTok to continue without the need of actually without them forcing China to sell TikTok. If I'm perfectly honest, we know the whole reason is it's nothing to do with national security. It is absolutely nothing to do with national security. It is because it is not an American product. It is because it's not like Twitter or Facebook, like the main social medias. It's not like them because they're not run by Western government, Western owners, and they want them under a Western branch. They want them falling in like they want TikTok to fall in line like the others, and TikTok won't do that. And that's what it's. This is what the crux of what it's all about. Yeah, it's because it's only because it's a China product. It's nothing to do with national security. And I've used TikTok, and I don't consider myself in the UK have not indicating any kind of ban on TikTok either, which is very, very good. But my hope is that this is not. I hope that after 75 days, that TikTok still remains in America. That's my hope on that one. But as for what happened on Sunday, so on Sunday, Donald Trump basically rang TikTok and basically said to people there before he went in, before his inauguration, basically said, start up your servers. I want you guys. I promise you guys, I'm going to sign an executive order. I'm going to have you guys at least another 75 days within America. That's what they told TikTok, and then TikTok reinstated everything on Sunday. And the day before, obviously, they shut everything down on that. Alistair Keir, thank you so much for the £2 super chat. Sounds like he's burning down all of Biden's bills. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. He's burning down. He said he would be dictator on day one, and on day one he's been a dictator by undoing pretty much everything that Joe Biden is doing. The very nice hat, like of Aztec vibe with the band, said Leechskin. Thank you so much for the hat. Yeah, I don't often wear the hat, but I had a migraine yesterday, that's why I didn't wear it on that. So, so scared for Ginger Giraffe, who's in the USA. There's a lot of people I'm concerned about. There's a lot of friends and colleagues of mine who live in the USA. I'm very much concerned about them, including her. There's a lot of people I'm concerned about. But as for TikTok, my hope it does not get banned. But this is not like some of the other executive actions are not as bad as this one, shall we say? Rescinding the 78 Biden era executive actions. So the order, Trump ordered 78 Biden-era executive actions to be rescinded, including at least a dozen measures supporting racial racial inequality, and combating discrimination against gays and transgender people. So this first one here, like I said, if you are gay, if you're transgender, if you are not considered man or woman, like, you must cover yourself. Please, please, please. I cannot stress this enough. Please, please, please do not show your even, like, just please don't make it very clear, because the government will have its people come out and try and target you. Please, please, please. Because now they basically want to legalize discrimination against gays and transgender people. That's what they want to go down towards. It's really scary stuff. I can't stress that enough. What Trump said: "I revoked nearly 8 destructive and radical executive actions of the previous administration." Trump told a crowd in Washington after his inaugural speech. He also said he would end policy trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life, and push for a colorblind and merit-based society. What it means is that the orders signal a reversal of Biden-era policy that prioritize implementing diversity measures across the federal government. Trump repeals orders signed by Biden advancing racial equality for under-reserved communities, and a aforementioned order combating discrimination based on gender identity or sexual orientation. It's kind of similar to the one that we've already spoken already, but like I said, please, if you have pride flags and whatnot, please don't make them very clear and visible. I know, just don't put yourself at risk. So basically, he wants to take America back to the 1950s. Essentially, take them back in time. I mean, they're doing that with the energy policy there. So the next one here is declaring a national border emergency. So the order, Trump signed an order at the White House declaring an emergency at the southern U.S. border, along with several other immigration-related policies. So what Trump says is all illegal entries will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the place from which they come from, Trump said in his inauguration speech. What it means is the executive action paves the way to send U.S. troops to the southern border to make good on campaign promises to implement hardline immigration policies. There are limited details about how the administration plans to execute its sprawling set of immigration actions that were all but certain to face legal and logistical challenges. Immigrant communities across the country are bracing for Trump's promise to carry out the largest deportation program in American history, beginning as early as Tuesday morning. Basically, if you do not have a U.S. citizenship, and if you do not have, I don't care who you are, if you do not have your documents in place, if you do not have your paperwork, you will be basically thrown out of the country, one way or another, or you will be put in camps to be thrown out of the country. If you do not have your documents, you are in big trouble. I cannot stress this enough. I'm really, really scared and concerned for those people. For all those people who come to America for the land of the dream and whatnot, it's going to be very difficult to have that belief anymore when you're going to get thrown straight out of the country back to where you come from, because that's what a lot of people are going to end up happening to them. This national border emergency is going to, it's not. I remember in the first 4 years of the Trump administration, we remember that that parents were separated from their children in camps and whatnot by the Trump administration, by the orders of the border force, and they are going to do that again. They are going to do that again. They are going to separate parents and children from each other. People from South America, from Central America, those who flee where they go to go to America, they need to be told, if you go there, you are putting yourself at risk now. They are putting themselves at grave risk. It's going to get real scary for those people. Like I said, please, 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 I cannot stress this enough, please have your documents covered as much as possibly can. This one really fucking pissed me off. Issuing pardons for January the 6th defendants. So the order, Trump issued pardons for offenders and communities related to the January 6th attack on the Capitol. He would direct the Department of Justice to dismiss the cases currently in progress. I'm going to be signing on the J6 hostages pardons to get them out, Trump said during his rally speech. We'll be signing pardons for a lot of people, he said, as he pardoned about 1,500 defendants charged with the January 6th attack in the US Capitol and issued 6 communications. What this means is that Trump has made his pledge to issue pardons for those with convicted relative to January 6th Capitol attacks as a core part of his re-election campaign. On the campaign trail, Trump often featured his national anthem sung by prisoners in a Washington, D.C. jail. There are more than 1,500 people federally charged with the associated charges. With Trump back in the White House, the Justice Department investigation into January 6th crimes are expected to cease. So there's a couple of things about this which is really, really bad. So the first, Billy Kershaw, thanks for popping in, appreciate it. An American told me the American dream is dead since Reagan's first term. So let me explain what's got. There's a couple of things about this, guys, which I'm concerned about. So first and foremost, that means that these people who tried to hang Mike Pence, who are responsible for the death of a police officer, their death for a police officer, for many other officers who were seriously hurt or wounded while protecting the Capitol, protecting those within the building. All those people who wanted and demanded justice for what happened on January 6th, that has all gone out the window. Those people have all been let free. So the justice that they were supposed to have has been taken away from them by Donald Trump's actions. That's the first thing. So all those people who had grudges against specific people within, whether it's politicians or whether it's police officers, anyone who is associated on January 6th, some of them may have actually agendas against some of those people, may target. So all the Democratic politicians who were there, like I'm saying this now, if Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for example, if she does not have security 24/7 with her, she bloody better get it now, because her life is at risk now, because there will be people that will be out to get her, for example. Mike Pence, he needs to make sure he's covered now, because these people may go after him still. Like, that's how scary it is. And then this is the part that really, really scares me more than anything. So obviously, I know we don't know what's going to happen in 4 years' time when it comes to a presidential election or local elections. But even if in 4 years' time, hypothetically, Trump loses the presidential election, these same people, they will be out in force to stop the power switching from Donald Trump, being taken from Donald Trump. They will make sure that Donald Trump stays in power. They will throw their bodies on the line for Donald Trump, because these people will give that to Donald Trump because he has let them to be free. They will give their lives to Donald Trump. They will ensure that Donald Trump, no matter what happens at the next elections in 2 years' time or in 4 years' time, they will throw their bodies on the line. And believe me, what happened on January 6th, we're going to have a repeat of this. We are going to have a repeat of this in some way, shape, or fashion. So any possibility of Trump like giving up power in any way, shape, or form in 4 years' time, that's going to be very near to next possible, because of not so much just because of what they're going to do within the Trump administration, because obviously they're going to tear things apart inside, but these people will make sure that no one stands up to them, and they will be armed as well. Withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement, kind of saw this coming, to be fair. Trump issued an executive order from withdrawing from the US from the 2015 Paris Agreement, along with a letter informing the United Nations of the decision. He says, "I am immediately withdrawing from the unfair, one-sided Paris Climate Accord ripoff," Trump said during a rally at the Capitol One Arena during his inaugural speech. Trump said he would use executive orders to end the Green New Deal. When means this in 2017, Trump exited the Paris Agreement. Upon taking office in 2021, Biden rejoined. Monday's order makes good on Trump's election promise to withdraw from the 2015 global treaty, seeking to avoid the worst impacts of the climate crisis. Exiting the climate agreement as part of Trump's broader efforts to roll back climate protections and policy, Trump has described Biden's efforts to grow U.S. clean energy sector as a green new scam. Basically, this means that if your energy bills weren't high enough, Americans, they're going to get a hell of a lot higher as a direct result of this. People think that their bills are going to go down because they're going to drill more oil and gas. No, that's not how it's going to work. All the money and profits making from that oil and gas is going to go to the millionaires and billionaires. It's going to go to the companies. It's not going to go to bringing down the cost. Let's be very clear about that. It is not going to be beneficial for the people. Yeah, I told you, I said it already, that the US are going to be one of the most polluted countries on the planet. Ahead, I believe they could be as worse than China over the next 4 years, because China are going in the right direction. They understand, even though they are still one of the worst polluters, they have been going in the right direction in terms of green new energy. Trump wants to undo all of that in America. He wants to undo all of that. So yeah, America is going to be very, very far behind compared to the rest of the world on that. And that's all the executive orders from day one there. So, and there's more to come. There's more to come. And like I said, I've got a lot more to cover, and I've already gone 45 minutes. 45 minutes already in of that, guys. Just have a quick read of what you guys are saying in the chat. Trump needs his Praetorian, says Jal. I would not mess with Alexandra OC. She looks like she will cut you. My kind of woman, says Jal. Yeah, but still, people will still target her. She needs to have security with her. If she doesn't, she puts herself at risk more than ever. More economic consequences from leaving the Paris Agreement and more bans on US products, says Jal. Yep. Well, there's nostalgia, and there's just ripping the nostalgia there. The same boss and landlord will be able to. Same boss and landlord as Takir, they'll be able to blackmail these people, he says. What's that about? So a boss or a landlord can just evict or fire someone because the person is in one of those groups, and not even have to justify it because there are no protections in the law. Yeah, there's not going to be anything there. So yeah, it's not going to be good. No, that's very bad, and it's going to get worse. Yeah, that's just the first day. That's just the executive orders as well. That's just the executive orders. So so one other place that's going to be obviously having an effect on what's going to be happening is in Ukraine. So Russia, Ukraine continue to strike despite Trump's promise to bring swift peace. So as of right now, it's been more than a day, guys, since Trump was elected, and the war is still going on. So Trump has failed to end the war within 24 hours of this war. So already the president has let the world down on this one. Trump says Zelensky wants a peace deal and Putin must accept. Moscow says no specific proposals from Washington. So they're saying this. So what's happening? So at the moment, Moscow are saying there's no proposals. So I was told from so one or two people sources I've been told is that there was supposed to be, from day one, there was supposed to be a sit-down agreement between America, Ukraine, and Russia. So clearly that has not happened yet. Now, it may happen in the next day, a few days or two, that perhaps they may start getting around the table. But as of right now, there's been nothing of that. I've been, from people from inside Russia, from other sources I've heard, have said that there was supposed to be that. That has not happened. So those who were claiming that there was going to be discussions on day one, where is it? So it's not happened. Nothing has changed in Ukraine as of right now. But that doesn't mean to say that later in a couple of days' time, or even today, later on today, that there won't be more discussions going along. So Russia and Ukraine have continued to exchange barrage of air attacks, despite Donald Trump having said he would end the war within 24 hours of becoming president. While Trump was inaugurated on Monday afternoon, neither Kiev nor Moscow have shown signs of de-escalating the drone and missile strikes that have been launching against one another in recent months. Both launched barrage overnight on Tuesday. Russia said it downed 55 drones, more than half of which were intercepted over regions on the border. Kiev said it struck an oil depot in the town of Lishki in the Voskin region, sparking a blaze at the facility for the second time in less than a week. The region's governor, Alexander, said the fire was caused by debris from a downed drone and no one was injured. Kiev also said that forces struck an aviation plant production combat aircraft in the Russian western city of Smolensk, creating explosions. Ukraine's Air Force claimed it shot down 93 of 141 drones Russia launched overnight, noting others were lost while 2 returned to Russia. Russian troops took control of the village of Voskin in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk region. Task Russia state-run news agency reported on Tuesday, citing the military of defense. They're still pushing Donetsk, and they've claimed captured another city village they're claiming there. Voskin is about 10 kilometers, 6.2 miles southwest of the city of Poskin. A key front in Moscow's offensive in eastern Ukraine. The Kiev has yet to comment on the defense ministry's claims. So Trump had told reporters on Monday that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had told him that he wanted to make a peace deal and voiced hope that Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin would follow suit. The newly inaugurated US president said that Putin would be destroying Russia by failing to make a deal, pointing out that Russia's economic troubles, including high inflation, and they are in deep doo-doo. Their economy is in deep doo-doo. That is for sure, Russia. The same day, Putin said Moscow is open to dialogue with the Trump administration on the conflict, emphasizing the need to respect Russia's interests. Trump has repeatedly said he would end the war in 24 hours, yet he has never provided any details of the plan. However, his team has hinted Trump may let Russia hold on to occupied chunks of Crimea, which Moscow annexed in 2014, and 4 Ukrainian regions. Kremlin's foreign policy advisor Yuri Struss said on Tuesday that Moscow has received no specific proposals from Washington concerning a Ukrainian settlement. In the immediate aftermath of Trump's inauguration, Putin held a long phone call with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The conversation on Tuesday saw the pair confirm their mutual support and dedication to securing a multipolar geopolitical environment. Russia and China's joint work plays an important stabilizing role in international affairs, Putin said in the call. Both sides should continue to deepen strategic coordination, resoundingly supporting each other and safeguarding legitimate interests for both countries, Xi said, according to Chinese state broadcaster CCTV. So, as we can see there, nothing's really changed there when it comes to the war in Ukraine and Russia as of right now. But that can change in the next couple of days, may change at the end of the week. Perhaps there may be some, maybe in the next few days, Trump will have a conversation with Putin, a phone call. I actually think he will have a phone call with Putin on the phone this week at some point. And what will be discussed, we won't know. But I think there will be a discussion at some point, at some sorts. Ben Shaw, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. And anybody else who's lurking in either chats. So I do think there'll be that conversation. What that'll be come out of, I'm not sure. But I do think there'll be that conversation there, guys. So we are still sticking with Trump, as we say, but this is a very interesting one that dropped on yesterday on Monday that I wanted to cover as well. So what Murado's threat to liberate Puerto Rico says about US-Venezuelan ties under Trump 2.0. So what's this story about? Well, I'm going to read some of it before I give my thoughts, guys. So let me explain. So the message seemed designed to reach Washington, and one administration prepares to hand the baton to the next. If the United States keeps messing with Venezuela, the Carcelias will retaliate by liberating the U.S. territory of Puerto Rico, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro had claimed last week. Notwithstanding the fact that a majority of Puerto Ricans vowed in favor of becoming a U.S. state in a non-binding referendum, or that the last time a Venezuelan army ventured abroad was in the independence wars over 200 years ago. Maduro swaggered as he was ready to send troops across the sea to the cradle of relegation, as images and not so welcome messages to President-elect Donald Trump just 10 days before his inauguration. Pundits in Venezuela and Latin America watched abroad are used to this type of rhetoric and see it as a taste of spicy relationships coming between Washington and Caracas in the years of Trump 2.0. The relationship will probably revolve around 3 critical issues: oil, migration, and ideology. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world and supplies crude oil to the US, particularly to refineries on the Gulf Coast. It is the origin point of more than 8 million Venezuelans who have fled the country under Murado's regime. Then there's the matter of his authoritarian socialist state, and the far side of the ideological spectrum from Trump's right-wing MAGA movement. So obviously there is no question in my mind that America wants, or shall we say America's capitalist dogs wants Venezuelans oil, and they don't want to give that oil to them. Obviously, they don't have a way of processing that oil, Venezuela, and they know that America has a way of doing it, and we know that Murado is not, let's just say, not very. We know that the relationship between Venezuela and America are not very good. Now, there is possibility that Trump may whack some kind of a deal with Venezuela on this. He will try to offer something to Venezuela to stop people fleeing his country and going to America. He will try to use Venezuela, perhaps throw money, offer him something to basically control those who are migrating from that country and those who may migrate from other countries in South America to America. it's entirely possible that he may do that, because obviously Trump wants to be seen as someone tackling migration. So it's possible he may throw a lot of money at Maduro. He may offer something else. I don't know about. I'm not so much sure about this of Venezuela liberating the territory of Puerto Rico. I don't think that's going to happen. I could be wrong. On that, but this does raise a lot of questions. That is for sure. It is an issue that has been going on for a while. So the governor of Puerto Rico, Jennifer Gonzalez, swiftly denounced Maduro's wars as not only a blatant threat of military aggression against the US, but also an incitement against peace and stability in our region. Now, I do wonder if they did it. Like, I don't expect them to do it. I don't expect Venezuela to do it. But if they did it, if they invaded Puerto Rico, would America do anything about it? Or specifically, would Trump do anything about it? But India Yumareda, a political consultant aligned with the Maduro government, said it was more a provocation than anything else. We still have a very delicate political situation regarding Maduro's whole attention. I think Maduro's policy would be to overcome internal challenges. It's not like anyone is seriously planning to invade Puerto Rico, he told CNN. In a reference to Venezuela's revived political opposition movement that maintains that Maduro stole last summer's election, a claim Maduro has dismissed. Maduro's real aim is just been to attract Trump's attention and possibly spark a direct dialogue with the incoming administration, she says. The two leaders have had a conflictual relationship to the first time Trump was in the White House. Maduro knows that the United States plays a more significant role in influencing Venezuela's economy, historically by importing the lion's share of Venezuela's crude and more recently imposing sexual sanctions on the oil industry. And this is where Trump can play something. Like Donald Trump can offer something with the crude oil in return to dealing with immigration. I can see a kind of deal like that being hampered out despite the relationship between the two. Moreover, Maduro himself is accused by the Justice Department of alleged crimes relating to narco trafficking and money laundering, and any new US-Venezuelan negotiations is likely to take into account. Maduro, hold on, just pulling this up. Maduro insists. So I'm just putting up the Twitch chat there because I was waiting to see if anyone's there. Maduro, I've lost my train of thought, guys. Apologies. And any new US-Venezuelan negotiations likely to take into account. Maduro says the allegations are fabric. Benigno Adacon, a professor of politics at Canaris Andreas Bello Catholic University, said Maduro's message might have been miscalculated. It doesn't do Maduro any favors. On the contrary, it exaggerates the animosity that exists between Maduro in the US government and among most Americans, he told CNN. However, the second Trump administration might deal with the Venezuelan leaders' calls for attention to remain an open question. Trump refers to Venezuela's opposition leaders as freedom fighters in a brief post on his social media last week, signaling support for the Democratic cause. But some US lobbyists are campaigning for a new administration to engage with the caucus on oil and migration policies. And this is where I think it will come in there, because despite Trump being more in favour of opposition, I think he will turn a blind eye to that, to be fair. Here. Sabis Streams on Twitch says, this posturing around natural resources isn't new in the way business has been done for the last 1,500 years, since we stopped killing exclusively for resources. My timeline is a bit off. We actually technically still did it around 900 years ago. Yeah. We've always natural resources is something we've always been taken, but we weren't taking the climate seriously, and people need to take it seriously. Things will get worse in America before they get better. They're going to get a hell of a lot worse. The argument for engagement is pragmatic. Trump supports new low oil prices and deportation of undocumented migrants, and to reach those goals, he needs the help of Venezuela, the third largest oil exporter in the US in 2024. This is, like I said, this is where it's going to be. That's where I generally think it's going to be. Currently, the US and international companies are barred from doing business in Venezuela, experts for a few notable exceptions. Over the years, the Biden administration has granted special licenses for companies to operate despite the sanctions, to the extent that US major Chevron has returned to play a key role in the Venezuelan oil industry. Over the last 12 months, Venezuela has exported an average of 200,000 barrels daily to the United States. Marco Rubio, soon to be the first Latino Secretary of State, thinks those licenses were a mistake. The Florida politician helped design that sanctions-approved approach to Caracas. The Senate hearing on Wednesday was disrupted by protesters accusing, in Spanish, of sanctions killing children in Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. At the hearing, Rubio also criticized the Biden administration for being played by Maduro and suggested a revision of the current licenses in the months to come. And at the same time, it's unlikely the new administration would impose a full embargo that would damage American oil companies and push the Venezuelans to sell even more of their oil to China. The S&P Global Commodity Team expects the new administration to cancel all licenses except for Chevron, hence reducing Venezuela's oil output with minor damage to oil imports and limited impacts to gas prices. Venezuela is also the country of origin with more than 8 million migrants, tens of thousands of whom crossed the southern border illegally in recent years. The incoming US president has signaled an aggression immigration push in the very few hours of the new administration, including legislation to do away with a humanitarian parole program designed to provide a legal pathway to the US for Venezuelans and other nationalities. This is incredibly scary. Obviously, the people who had a way to become US citizens or basically establish themselves, that's going to go now as well. But to deport undocumented Venezuelan migrants back to their home country, Trump needs to find and understand Maduro, who remains in power despite overseeing the country's catastrophic economic collapse. Yeah, he will want to get rid of. There will be a lot of Venezuelans in America he will want to get rid of. Last year, Venezuela's economy stopped crashing, but inflation remains a whopping 48% year on year, meaning that it's nowhere near it turning its corner despite an increase in oil exports in recent years, according to Maduro. Over 20 million people in Venezuela, out of a population of 28 million, live in multi-dimensional poverty. And according to a new report by Human Rights Watch this week, according to data verified by the Washington Office for Latin America, a think tank, the intention to migrate almost Venezuelans increased by over 70% following Maduro's controversial election in July, suggesting the new immigration wave might just be around the corner. So yes, I covered this when the election happened last year. The Venezuelan election happened last year, for those who don't know. And a huge amount of Venezuelans originally didn't leave straight away because they were hoping that they would be able to overthrow or topple the government or basically change this election outcome because they knew it was rigged. But that didn't happen. He stayed in power. He had mercenaries to keep himself covered. And eventually things started quieling down and the realization that they're going to have Maduro again. And that's when the Venezuelans started flocking and leaving the country because they knew that there was nothing that they were going to do to get rid of this man. He was going to stay in power no matter what. So that's when it really, basically, it took a few months before most Venezuelans, a huge chunk of them, fled the country. Maduro knows that migration is a priority for Trump, and he's likely hoping that the new administration can be convinced to strike a deal to reduce the diplomatic and economic pressure on the carcass in exchange for its acceptance in increased deportation flights. The deal will take place, and maybe not at the beginning, but sooner or later Trump will have to engage with Venezuela on migration. And who do you engage with in Venezuela? With Maduro? Pretty much. I'm not going to cover any more, but we get the gist of it basically there. That, yeah, it's going to be an interesting conversation, that is for sure. But yeah, there will definitely be conversations between the two. There will definitely be conversations. Will Trump seek something out? I do think he will. Between the two, like I said, I think the fact that he wants to push and kick out as much migrants as possible means that I can see him striking a deal with Maduro. That means that deporting a lot of Venezuelans that are in America back to their country, despite the fact that many of them who have fled, who traveled up into America, crossing the border, many of them will get deported back. I can see that happening. I know it's wrong and it's cruel because they didn't want to go back to Venezuela because of him in the first place, but I can see that happening, sadly. So I do think there's a deal will be struck of some sorts there. As for the Puerto Rico situation, I don't see any kind of invasion whatsoever. I'll be shocked if that does happen. I really will be, but I don't think that's going to happen there. On that, for sure. Maduro was the killer of Chavez, the guy Chavez sent to take care of problems, and he rose to power, says Zhao. The only positive is of this is that the US will be the only one of the countries in the world that will suffer more with climate change. It'll be fun that they trying to deny it. They will. It doesn't matter how bad things get in America. It doesn't matter how bad the wildfires get. It doesn't matter how cold it will be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how bad the hurricanes or whatever turbulent, whatever kind of weather, extreme weather. The Trump administration will deny that it's anything to do with climate change. They will deny it. They will deny it's anything to do with climate change. And when not enough has been done to fix the problems. They will blame the people. And if it's under Democrats, they will blame the people running. They will say it's your fault for not giving enough money. I mean, I'm just thinking now, how long before they start cutting off the supply of money to help those in California since the wildfires? Like, because I would not be surprised if I hear a story today or in the next few days where the funding to support people in Los Angeles because they've lost their homes is cut off by the Trump administration because they say that the Democratic state didn't do enough, or they didn't pump enough water, or blame X, Y, and Z when it's actually due to climate change. That's what they will do. They will blame someone else for that. Also interesting, when people are richer, they care more about the planet for the future generations. Is well documented, assuming being struggling less but more, not conclusive the cause. So that is absolute nonsense. If the richer cared about climate, they would put their money where their mouth is. Saber Stream, that's absolute bollocks. That is bollocks, and you know it. Guys, let's take a break from all this. We've been going quite a fair bit here. I hope you guys enjoy this funny video here. So there were quite a lot of funny videos, obviously, around the obviously when Trump's inauguration happened. We had one from Broken News. You have one from Other People. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one from Nerdine Skimmer here. Liz Truss, as you know, guys, was at the Trump inauguration. So obviously, I'm sure she had a wonderful time being in there, right? Right?
Hello, it's me, Liv Struss, here in the USA, ready for Trump's big day. Now, I actually went all the way to Pennsylvania, but apparently I was in the wrong town. But don't worry, because now I'm here in Washington, DC, looking great. Now, people have been saying that I look like Paddington Bear, but that's nonsense because I don't like marmalade, I've got cheese sandwiches. But I'm here with my ticket for Trump's orientation, but nobody will let me in. I was told it was in the White House, but it's not my fault that there are loads of White Houses around. I've been knocking on doors all morning. Anyway, I finally got to the right place because I'm always right, but they wouldn't let me in either, and that is a disgrace. This is all Keir Starmer's fault. I bet he told everybody that I crashed the economy. Well, do you know what I've done? I've gone and told the whole of America that I didn't, and that will quash all of the rumours. I'm even in the news. Now, I'm actually really good friends with Donald Trump, and I'm sure there's been a misunderstanding, so I'm going to call him and rectify the problem. Trump. Oh.
It's me, Donald Trump.
Voicemail.
Now, I can't come to the phone right now because I am busy becoming king of the world. Alright? So what I want you to do is leave a message after the tone. Unless you're Liz Truss, in which case do not leave me a message and stop sending me your panties in the mail.
Oh, Trumpy, it's Liv Struss here with a message for you. Unfortunately, I couldn't get into your fun party. For some reason, people aren't recognising me. But can you let me in, please? Oh, and also, I'm wearing your Get Your Pork Here pants. Bye. End. I'll wait here until he calls me back. He'll call.
Why does she look like Ash Ketchum, the Pokemon trainer? Why does she look like Ash Ketchum? She's got the red hat. Because you know, if you know Pokemon, you know Ash Ketchum. You know the original one. He had like the blue thing, the red hat, and a bit of the white there. Why does she remind me of Ash Ketchum? Oh, blimey heck. That's a terrible thought. I was just like, why? That's the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, why do you look like a Pokemon trainer? That was my first thought. Do check out Nerdine Skinner's YouTube channel, guys. Do check it out. It's absolutely cracking stuff there. Oh, dear, oh, dear. So, guys, we've got a couple more stories to go through, but just a reminder, guys, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. It'd be greatly appreciated on YouTube, and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing because it really does help support the channel. If you're on Twitch, do hit that follow button. It'd be greatly appreciated as well. But if you're also on YouTube, if you want to financially support me in the work that I do here, you can do so by leaving a super chat or by joining the YouTube membership for as little as 99p. Gets you access to custom emojis, also gets you access to members community posts, as well as whenever you comment on my videos, you always get a response from me. And also, if you're a 199 member, you get early access to additional content as well. So those are some of the perks you get for being a member. So if you do consider it. So thank you to everyone who is a member in any way, shape or form. I appreciate whether you've been gifted a membership, whether you've just renewed your membership or you just carried on. I really appreciate your support, everyone. So thank you so much, guys. It really does mean the world to me. Other ways you can financially support me is by buying me a coffee as well. You can buy me a coffee if you want to do it that way. Link for that is in the links tree in the description down below. And you can also check out the Rumble and Patreon content. There's lots of Patreon and Rumble content dropping this week. If you haven't seen on the community posts this morning, there's a lot of content on there. Got five stories from the UK on Patreon and 5 stories from Rumble on there for you guys to check out as well. I've been dropping daily content on Rumble as well every day, so including the weekends. So hopefully I can keep up with that, guys, as well, because I do want to grow stuff on there as well. So thank you everyone for listening as well. So let's move on, guys, away from Nadine Skinner. Let me just make sure I've got this on properly. Yeah, so obviously continuing on with the Trump theme here. This is from NBC News. So as Trump lifts the sanctions on the West Bank settlers, anti-Palestine violence flares in the occupied area. So the White House says that Trump has done away with measures that has barred Americans from dealing with both the Israeli settlers and entities associated with them. So with regards to, I haven't found, as of right now, guys, I haven't found a directly what he has said about since he become president. I haven't found him directly on the ceasefire itself. As of right now, we know it is holding at the moment. I'm going to cross my fingers there. But obviously, the West Bank, as we know, is not in a very good spot right now. So that's it's not good here at all. Well, we knew that things would get worse for Palestinians under a Trump administration, and especially those in the West Bank. And I know they're going to stand firm regardless, but it's going to be even harder for them to stand strong when America is not even going to... We knew that America wasn't blinking eyes enough in the Middle East anyway, but then they're going to be even turning more to support Israel regardless. So, hours after President Donald Trump rescinded American sanctions on far-right settler groups and individuals accused of involvement in violence against Palestinians in the occupied West Bank, Israel's military said it had launched a significant operation in the territory. Israel forces moved into the northern city of Jen in an offensive that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said was launched to defend terrorism. Health authorities in the region said at least 7 people were killed and dozens were injured. And it came after his military said Israeli civilians, some of them masked, had attacked a Palestinian village Monday night before they turned on their own soldiers. Introduced by the Biden administration in February, Executive Order 14115 saw sanctions imposed on persons undermining peace, security and stability in the West Bank. But in a major policy reversal, the White House website said on Monday that Trump had done away with the measures, which barred Americans from dealing with both Israeli settlers and entities associated with them while freezing their U.S. assets. So basically, those who were causing trouble will now be allowed to, the pressure that America had on it is basically gone. It came after Trump described Gaza as a phenomenal location as he signed a series of executive orders in the Oval Office shortly after his presidential inauguration ceremony. The decision to rescind the sanctions came a day after the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas came into effect, bringing a pause to Israel's 15-month military offensive in Gaza. After phase 1 of the deal began Sunday, 3 Israeli women held hostages by Hamas were released in exchange of 90 Palestinian teenagers of women who were imprisoned or detained by Israel. During his first term, Trump abandoned the long-held U.S. position that the settlements are illegal before it was restored by the then-President Joe Biden. Trump's reversal was welcomed by the ultra-nationalist Israeli politicians, including Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich and Ibrahim Ben-Gvir, who resigned from his role as Justice Minister after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government voted to accept a ceasefire agreement. Calling sanctions blatant foreign interference in the internal affairs of the State of Israel, Smokovich said on Tuesday in a post on X that they had harmed relations between the US and Israel. Ben-Gvir also took to X, where he praised the righting of an injustice. Much of the world attention has focused on the Gaza Strip during the 15 months of conflict, when Israeli officials said 1,200 people were killed. Yep, we know all about that. Israel military offensive, Gaza has killed more than 47,000 people since then. Yep, we know all about that. In the year leading up to Hamas attacks, 253 Palestinians were killed in the occupied West Bank, according to a database kept by the United Nations Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, or the OCHA. Violence by settlers and Israeli military operations have soared since then, and the months leading up to January the 15th, the database shows 828 Palestinians have been killed in the territory. In the year leading up to the Hamas attack, 33 Israelis were killed in the West Bank. The database shows between that date and January the 6th, the last update was updated, it showed that 28 had been killed. I've got a feeling those numbers aren't accurate, and I wouldn't blame people for saying so. Within hours of Monday's announcement from the White House, the Israeli military said in a statement that dozens of Israeli civilians, some of them masked, raided the Palestinian village of Al-Fatin, where they designated riots, set property on fire, and caused damage to the statement instead. Troops were dispatched to the scene where they were attacked by Israelis, some of whom threw rocks, the statement added. A joint investigation into the incident had been opened by the Department of Internal Police Investigation and Military Police Criminal Investigation Division, statement said. After Tuesday, whether those were involved and were arrested or charged, the IDF referred NBC News to the Israeli police. The police force did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Hi, Rosemary. Good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. Netanyahu said in a statement on Tuesday that the IDF police and the country's domestic security agency, known as Ben Shin Bet, had launched an extensive and significant military operation to defeat terrorism in Jem, a city in the West Bank's north, calling the offensive the Iron Wall. Palestinian health officials said in a statement that at least 7 people were killed and around 35 injured as a result of the operation. Referring to the region as Jureda and Samida, the biblical names for the West Bank, Smokovich said in a separate statement that the operation would help change the security perception about the region. The operation was launched after the United Nations Human Rights Office said on Monday that it was alarmed by the wave of renewed violence perpetrated by settlers and Israeli security forces in the occupied West Bank. This has been accompanied by increased restrictions on Palestinian freedom of movement across the West Bank, including complete closure of some checkpoints and installation of new gates, effectively confining entire communities, he added. Israel has occupied the West Bank out of the Jordan River since the 1967 Middle Eastern War, building and expanding Jewish settlements there that most countries consider illegal, an assertion Israel rejects. Well, we know that they're going to be ramping this up even more. They're going to be pushing this even more now because they know that they're going to have even more, no repercussions whatsoever. Because guess what? Trump is in charge, and Netanyahu and is very close to Donald Trump. They actually have long connection. They have long, They actually have a long history between the two, believe it or not. So things are going to get even worse in the West Bank before you know it. And as for the ceasefire, like I've said on Rumble, and I'm going to tell you guys here, I don't have much hope for it. I expect it to blow up at some point. I'll be amazed if Trump actually continues to keep a ceasefire. I will be amazed in doing so. But if it blows up, it breaks down, Trump will just blame Hamas. Even if it's Israel's fault, he will still blame Hamas. He will say it's their fault. They're the ones who are doing everything wrong. They're not conceding concessions when they've already agreed everything. So when it goes wrong, Trump will blame Hamas. I guarantee it. He will not, in any way, shape, or form, blame Netanyahu in Israel because he's very close to them as well. Israel and Palestine are proxy states, says Sabastein. I'm really worried that it will essentially be suppressed for the next few years and it will be a USA and Iran war using. Yeah, I hope. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to go to war with Iran. He's more keen on having a war with Canada, Greenland, and the Panama Canal more than anything, isn't he? It is actually Hamas's fault. What Hamas did on October 7th, yes, they did trigger it, but there is long history here. That you have to go back before then, as well. You have to understand that it's been before October the 7th. You have to understand that, and what you need to understand is what Israel have done since then, since October the 7th. And there has been numerous sources, numerous news outlets have confirmed that Israel have deliberately and intentionally pulled out of agreements when Hamas have made more concessions, even though they are the terrorists in this. They have made more concessions on the deal than Israel have. And Israel have consistently pulled out every single goddamn time. It has always been Israel that have not agreed to the deal. Not Hamas, it's been Israel. It's always been Israel who have not agreed to deals, okay? It's because of those within government who do not want any kind of thing, any kind of deal with Hamas. And they believe that they can wipe out Hamas. And the answer is they can't. The only way they can wipe out Hamas is literally to wipe out the whole of Gaza, wipe out the whole Palestinian population. That's the only way it's going to happen. And that's what they're trying to do. That's why they've leveled more than 90% of buildings. And by the way, it's more than 47,000 Palestinians that have died. And nobody actually talks about those losses of life. We always talk about Israelis. They never talk on the mainstream media about the lives of Palestinians. They treat them as beneath Israelis. Anyway, that's a topic for another day. So, obviously, Trump is still bringing in new appointees and whatnot, guys. But already, someone has decided to leave the Trump administration already. So already, guys, it's already the second day, and someone has decided, yeah, this Trump government's not for me. So Ramaswamy won't serve on Trump's government effectively commission as he molds the run for Ohio governor. So this guy, I've read this already anyway. So I've read this already, guys, just for reference. So this guy was going to work with Elon Musk on the Doge, the government of effectively cutting back on government stuff, basically. Well, guess what's going to happen now? Musk is going to be in sole charge instead of this guy working in cooperation with him. So let me read more into this, guys. Yeah, I can't see the chat before my comments. So hello to anyone just arriving. No worries, Jow. It's all good. Actually, let me just change my setting on YouTube to all messages because for some reason it always sets on top messages and not all. So the Department of Government Efficiency, first order of business was itself. It's now down to just one leader. It was going to have two. So Vivek Ramaswamy, if I mispronounced the name, I apologize, is no longer part of the commission that President Donald Trump championed. Officials confirmed hours after the Republican took office on Monday, and that leaves billionaire Elon Musk to run the cost-cutting operation alone. Elon Musk is going to be running the cost-cutting operation alone. How's Twitter been doing since he took over that? Ramaswamy, a biotech entrepreneur who sought the GOP nomination for president in 2024, has signaled plans to run for the governor of Ohio next year. A native of Cincinnati, Ramaswamy, 39, has shown interest in Vice President J.D. Vance recently vacated his Senate seat before Ohio Governor Mike DeWine chose Lieutenant Governor John Hussle as Vance's successor. Vivek Ramaswamy played a crucial role in helping us create Doge. Anna Kelly, a spokesperson for the commissioner, said in a statement. He intends to run for elected office soon, which requires him to remain outside of Doge based on the structure that we announced today. We thank him immensely for his contributions over the last 2 months, expecting to play a vital role in making America great again. So essentially, basically, he's pulled himself out of being part of the government in order to make a run for the Ohio. So they didn't really... So they basically were going to have him a part of it, and then they realised, oh, well, he can't be a part of it while also running for a governor seat. So, yeah, he's probably going to end up running for that. So Trump had picked Musk and Ramaswamy to lead Doge, a non-government task force that Trump has assigned to find ways to fire federal workers, cut programs, and slash federal regulations, all part of what the new president calls his Save America agenda for his second term. Musk's involvement in particular has raised ethnic concerns because SpaceX, the company he founded and led, had massive defensive contracts and competes for businesses from NASA. His Tesla electric car company and other business interests could also benefit from the Trump decisions in office. Yeah. So a lot of rivals to Elon Musk are going to get punched here as well. Ambitious efforts to reduce the size and scope of the federal government historically have ran into resistance when the public is confronted with cuts to trusted programs that millions of Americans depend on their jobs, healthcare, military security, and everyday needs. Yeah, they're all going to get cut. They have no idea, do they? Some of them. Some Americans have no idea at all. South Australia will be more than 50,000. Some of the reports have said up to 80, 90,000 because they've not accounted all the losses. One of the world's wealthiest millennials, Ramaswamy, has made a fortune in biotech before turning his attention to politics. He rose to a phenomenon on the right as a fierce critic of identity politics and programs that advance diversity, equality, and inclusion. He has positioned himself as a thought leader of Trump's populist Make America Great Again movement. He endorsed Trump in the GOP primary after finishing fourth in Iowa's lead-off caucuses. So the main crux of this story is that Elon Musk is now going to be the sole person behind Doge now. Because it was initially supposed to be a joint person who basically who knows politics and whatnot, and then a guy who knows about cost cutting, I suppose, because he's done it in X. I suppose that's basically what it's going to be. But yeah, it's basically Musk's ball now. He's going to run the ball on this, and you just know it's not going to go well. You know it's just not going to go well, guys. It's just not going to go well. I really, like I said, I really do fear for Americans out there. It's going to be really, really bad, guys. It really, really is. So I've got one more story for you guys before we head to the funny memes. This one here is from the BBC. It's one that I'm sure you've heard quite a number of times already, and I've not covered it until now. So Musk reportedly responds to the backlash over his gesture at the Trump rally. What does this look like? I mean, is it a wave, or is it a posture, or is it some kind of salute? You know, it's not like an American salute. You know, it's almost like something else here. What do you guys think that is? Young Ralph, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Almost looks like a Nazi salute, doesn't it, guys? Definitely looks like it, doesn't it? You know. So how does he defend this? Let's read. So Elon Musk has called outrage over a one-arm gesture he gave during the speech celebrating his inauguration on Donald Trump. Musk thanked the crowd for making it happen before placing his right hand over his heart and then thrusting the same arm out straight ahead of him. He then turned to repeat the action for those sitting behind him. Many on X, the social media platform he owns, have likened the gesture to a Nazi salute. In response, Musk posted on X, frankly, they need better dirty tricks. The everyone is Hitler is so tired. So he didn't deny it. So he hasn't denied it at all. So he hasn't denied it, but he's just saying everyone's saying, it's so bored of it. Well, no. It's the fact that you did it. And the thing is, he knows what he did as well. Musk, the world's richest man, that's a close ally of President Trump, was speaking at the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. when he made the gesture. My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured, the 51-year-old said after giving the second one-arm salute. There was immediate backlash on social media. Claire Albans, a historian who specializes in Nazism within the United States, said Musk's gesture was a Sey's-Hegel or Nazi salute. My professional opinion is that you're all right should you believe your eyes, she posted on X in reference to those who believed the gesture was to be an overt reference to Nazis. Ruth Ben-Gavik, a history professor at New York University, said, historians of fascism here, it was a Nazi salute and a very begrudging one too. Andrea Stopper, a close confidant of Musk, who had connected with him with far-right Italian PM Giorgio Mendi, was reported by Italian media to have posted the clip of Musk with the caption, Roman Empire is back, starting with the Roman statue. So yeah, some people are trying to basically pull the rabbit of like, this is a Roman gesture. And from what I understand, people made this kind of thing towards the emperor in their basically undying loyalty to the emperor. Hence a reference to like how long before we see this all done towards Donald Trump. The Roman salute was widely used in Italy by Benito Mussolini's fascist party before later being adopted by Adolf Hitler in Germany. Stropper later deleted his post, Italian media said. He later posted that gesture, which some mistook for a silent salute, is simply Elon, who has autism, expressing his feelings by saying, I want to give my heart to you, he said. That is exactly what he communicated into the microphone. Elon dislikes extremists. Dear oh dear, guys. His gesture comes as Musk's politics have increasingly shifted to the right. He has made recent statements in support of Germany's far-right AfD party and British anti-immigration party Reform UK. Appearing at the Davos at the World Economic Forum annual meeting, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz was asked about the comparison to a nice salute, something that is banned in Germany. You have to remember that. If you go to Germany and you do it, you get arrested. You have freedom of speech in Europe and in Germany, he said. What we do not accept if this is supporting extreme right positions, and this is what I would like to repeat again. But some have defended Musk, including the Anti-Defamation League, an organisation founded to combat anti-Semitism. It seems that Elon Musk made an awkward gesture in a moment of enthusiasm, not a Nazi salute, the group posted on X. Musk has become one of Trump's closest allies. It's been tapped to co-lead what the president has termed the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, which we already talked about there. But we can claim it's a salute. I mean, does he know what he's doing? He may be exaggerate. He may have just been trying to wave. You know, people will try to say it one way or another. Either way, it is controversial, like the way he did it. He shouldn't have done it. He knows he shouldn't have done it. He should have just done like a simple wave or whatever, like this. Like, it didn't have to be arm out straight. He really didn't have to do the arm out straight. He could have just done it like this. You know, you could have done this like the Queen did, guys. You remember the Queen just did this with her hand? You could have done something like that, but no. He decided to do something that's quite similar to a Nazi salute. That's just generally what he did. Didn't have to do it. It was very, very silly of him. I hate authoritarianism taking over normal things and turning them into this bull. I'm also part German, as you know what he means, what it is meant in the Reich. Yeah, we know exactly what he means in the Reich. We know. It really was completely unnecessary. I hate Musk, but even if people here salute like that is a Roman statue. What Musk thinks about it, I do not know, says Jow. Yeah, I like I said, I think some people see it as the Roman thing rather than other things, but demagogic oligarchs is grifting everyone, says Genie Bottle. Yeah, appears to be the case, that's for sure. Does appear to be the case, guys. So, we have gone, wow, we've gone an hour and 30 minutes long. I actually didn't, I honestly did not think we were going to go as long as we did. But before we head out, guys, I've just got one last thing for you guys. I have not one, not two, not five, but six memes for you guys here. And they are around Donald Trump, most of them. Some of them around America and whatnot, these memes. So I hope you guys get a bit of a laugh out of them before we head out here. So, 6 here for you guys. I'm just going to quickly drink my drink. Hopefully you guys get a laugh out of these. Okay, here we go. I want to deport 11 million illegals and 2 puppies. 2 puppies? Why? See? Nobody cares about the illegals. No one cares about them. See? I just said that nobody cares. Let's invade Canada. Oh, it's too cold. Let's hold the inauguration inside. No one outpizzas the hut. Imagine being that guy who set up 100,000 chairs on the National Mall, and they announced that they're moving the inauguration indoors. Damn. Trump signs executive order that thick Latinas will not be deported. I wonder why not them specifically. Might have something to do with a certain body part. Very interesting. Witches report their spells against Donald Trump aren't working. He has a shield. Bloody fucking witches. Can't even get their spells working on him. God damn it. Damn it, witches! They're just absolutely useless. Not very good, guys. Witches let us down there. And for those who didn't get the Pizza Hut reference, that was Melania Trump. For those who didn't get the reference. Thanks for popping in, Alistair Keir. Appreciate it, my friend. So, guys, we have come to the end of the Snowflake Corner. What did you guys think of what we covered today? Covered quite a lot on Donald Trump. And if you want me to do a future American live stream, like a future Donald Trump one, we could do one in the future as well. But let me know your thoughts and more on what we covered down in the comment section below. But just before we head out, let's check on, very most importantly, guys, the gang behind me. Pingu is absolutely buzzing at the prospect of Donald Trump. So he's absolutely delighted about the inauguration. It all went well. And he said he cannot wait for the United States of America to join the BRICS so that they can have negotiations over penguins' rights in Antarctica and the Arctic, he said there, Pingu. So he's looking forward to America joining the BRICS at some point as well, guys, apparently. So, yeah. But as for the rest of the gang, they're not approving of it. So, guys, I will be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. for Prime Minister's questions, followed by 8 p.m. with the Snowflakes Watch. We'll be covering some of the, obviously, we'll be covering some news in the UK as well as some bits in America. I know I know you're not going to get tired of Donald Trump, so I'm going to give you more Donald Trump. And as well on Thursday, myself and One Angry Pagan will be doing a live stream there looking at second homes, holiday homes specifically, as well as talking about the climate and the sea level rises as well. So do join us for that live stream on Thursday evening as well, so you can join us for that. I will be hanging out in Max's live stream a bit later on as well. But just before I go, if you haven't already, guys, do hit that like button, be greatly appreciated, and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing because it really helps support the channel. If you're on Twitch, do consider hitting that follow button on there, be greatly appreciated as well. For those on YouTube, if you want to financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.